So, Christine Hamilton, I know it's a big call because look at the recent Labour leaders. You know, you've got Blair, who lied about a war in Iraq. You've got Gordon Brown, who lied about his economic record. You've got Corbyn, who lied about whether he was an anti-Semite or not. But actually, I think Slippery Starmer is the least trustworthy of them all because he lies and flip-flops on a daily basis. This isn't something that happens every now and then. It's constant.
Well, time will tell whether he takes the biscuit, as it were. At the moment, I would put Blair at the top of the list because the Iraq war was that was unforgivable, the way he lied about that. So the jury's out on that. But, I mean, what Starmer is realising now are the difficulties of possibly being in government. When he was just purely opposition, it really didn't matter what he said. He could, but now he's having to concentrate. Now he's having to think about it. And the trouble is he has no vision. He has no underlying philosophy to guide his principles. He doesn't have any principles. You know, this is what I believe in, and if you don't like it, here are my other beliefs. So he's finding that he's beginning to discover that the act of governing is very, very different to the act of opposing. But, I mean, it is quite extraordinary. I mean, you listed them. We've had the tuition fees, and as you said, that didn't end very well for Nick Clegg, did it? He lost his seat, and he was going to nationalise all the commanding heights of the British economy. That's all gone by the wall. He was against high tax and low growth, and now he's in favour of taxing the top 5%. He doesn't know where he is. That's the trouble. He's got no guiding star. He's got no principles by which to make his decisions. And he's just rushing around in the wind. He's being buffeted by the wind.
Indeed, and Adam Brooks, we're talking about the man who, if you believe the polls at the moment, is the likely next Prime Minister of the country. But don't you think the reason that the polls have narrowed so significantly is because we actually can't trust this bloke? We have no idea what he would do in number 10.
I'm horrified that he could be our next Prime Minister. You know, I'm not letting the government off because I've been very critical of the government.
Indeed.
And they've messed a lot of things up. They won't get my vote, and Starmer certainly won't get my vote. But, look, we're talking about a man that blatantly lied about Currygate or Beergate in Durham. He lied about the number of attendees. He lied about whether Rayner was there. He lied about the hotel doing food. He constantly lies, as the clips have shown. Now, we also face the prospect of probably the wokest Prime Minister that could ever be in Starmer. You know, he will go along with the trans agenda, we know that. He will bend his knees to the EU.
Literally.
Yeah.
Literally. He'll be on his knee. He took the knee. Look at it right now
He will capitulate, you know, to the lefty screams on immigration. It horrifies me what this country is going to become. And it's in a bad place already. Let's not let the government off on that.
No.
I think it's going to get a hell of a lot worse.
I couldn't agree more. And actually, we'll have Farage here later talking about the Trump interview. And Trump was very clear. He thought a lot of the damage that has been done in the US is starting to happen in the UK, even under a Conservative government. So you're right, we cannot let the Conservatives off. But Matthew Laza, I believe you think it's unfair when I describe Starmer as slippery. Why?
Absolutely. He's not slippery Starmer, he's sensible Starmer. The world has moved on since 2019, Dan. And I mean, I could sit here and list all the Tory promises that have been broken, all the Tory promises that were made in that election, including the oven-ready Brexit. Well, you know, never mind slow cooking. It's a slow-cooked Brexit because it hasn't properly happened yet. I mean, the world has moved on.
Well, I don't think you should raise Brexit, given that Starmer was the bloke who led the charge for a second referendum, who led the charge to overturn the biggest democratic vote in British history.
Election, Dan. We lost the 2019 election. And,
so we can't believe a word that Starmer says?
No, because the Labour Party's position is clear in accepting where we are on Brexit and with no question of reintroducing free movement or of going back...
But Matthew, you're an advisor. You're a former advisor to the Labour Party, very senior within the Labour Party previously. You must admit that Starmer's pledges to your party were simply an attempt to hoodwink the left of your party to elect him.
Elect him, yeah.
I think they reflected the situation as it was in 2019. I mean, Labour would get rid of tuition fees if the money was there. We've had another 4 years of Tory economic failure. You know, there is no money to do those things. Labour will have to drop lots of Labour things that it would like to do, lots of good things that millions of people would like to see.
Out.
But it can't. Well, it's not.
This is not going to go down well with the younger generations.
Why didn't Starmer say at the outset, yes, we would like to do away with tuition fees, which I think...
If we can afford it.
What I would have done...
Bonkers, by the way. If we can
what I would have done
afford it.
differently is I think we should... I think that the way they did the announcement, there should have... whatever the policy is going to be should have gone alongside the dropping of the getting rid of tuition fees. It will have to be a compromise.
The problem
only
is,
thing- Sorry.
I wouldn't even trust this guy to make me a cup of tea because he'd probably come back with a cappuccino and say... By the way,
it's a good line, Dan, but it's not true.
That was
He's going to give the country the leadership it so desperately
He'll
needs.
do anything that he thinks will get him power.
Yeah.
That's
And
what he wants.
hold on,
What on earth is he going to do?
And did he do that with the Sue Gray report? Has he had influence over what has gone on? Because Boris was the Conservatives' only hope of challenging in this general election.
Indeed. And my feelings on the Sue Gray report...
If they've got nothing to hide, why don't they both come out and say, this is when we first met, this is when we first discussed it.
It
Let's
stinks,
hear
Dan.
about it.
It really
It
stinks.
does stink.
Sue Gray is engaging with the committee on appointments after public life, which loads of Tories didn't bother doing. She's sticking by the rules.
But there's a
Matthew
conflict of
Laza,
interest.
Adam Brooks, Christine Hamilton, my superstar panel.